community. Ah! Hello, I'm Johnny Knoxville, and this is the Community Hour. No, this is Blake coming to you live from Las Vegas, West Coast, hashtag Community Hour. It's an amazing week. Less than 24 hours ago, I was in the ER for 6 hours, but here I am today for the Community Hour in our biggest episode yet. We've got Melissa from ClickUp, the most amazing marketing, creative going on for brands on planet Earth right now. And we also have got Jeff, just really amazing, one of the best blogs on Medium, talking about diversity, inclusion, community building. They've got a new book out. And I'm getting so many questions about Meetup. I use Meetup Pro. So we've got Marie Lou. I don't have any Canadian. I have Zed, maple syrup, but I can't do the rest. Apologies for that. And really for today, I got here in the tuxedo jacket with the Die Hard Nakatomi Plaza shirt on. Yippee-ki-yay. Oh, okay. You know the rest. And so, oh, yeah, we are going to do this today for whatever. Have some fun. Send out some good vibes. Send out some positive vibes into the universe today. It's Thursday, April 21st. I was going to say 24th. That made absolutely no sense, but just really happy to be here with everybody from around the world. We've got people from Nigeria, Canada, West Coast. We're bringing people from all over the world. And with community, right, it's not just about community. You've got to work with other team members. You've got to work with the executive team. You've got to work with your growth teams. You've got to work with sales. You've got to work with everybody. So I'm bringing in the best, the brightest across executive, marketing, creative. We need to talk to everybody around the world that's doing these amazing things. We're connected back with community. Community is so much about interdisciplinary skills, soft skills. There's so much you have to learn at being a professional today. And, being a digital storyteller is great. So it's great to have one of the best digital storytellers on earth here today. Diversity inclusion is also super important with community. So it's great to have Jeff on today. And then with virtual events, in-person events, hey, we're coming back after COVID, hopefully all the things going on. So it's great to have someone from Meetup there to kind of talk about that, de-still, things like that. And so that's really going to be it today. The only bit of house cleaning, I just want to quickly note, next week, we've got a special Web3 edition with Jessica from gooddollar.org, Heinrich from Molecule, and Adabio, probably messed that name up, also from Nigeria. I'm going to be talking about Web3. So let's dive right into the show today. It was pretty amazing, really amazing guests that we have on today. You've seen them on LinkedIn, you've seen them on YouTube, you've seen them on the Super Bowl. Melissa Rosenthal, the Chief Creative Officer at ClickUp. If you're not watching this brand on social, watch what they're doing, watch how they're engaging with people, get onto their YouTube, get onto their podcast, vote for them on the Webby Show. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So I'm going to bring Melissa up to the stage, but let me just do a quick intro as I do that, as I bring Melissa up to the stage. So we've got Melissa on here today. Of course, I got to take the traffic off. Boom. Hello,
Here I
Melissa.
am. Hi, thanks for
Going?
having me.
Yeah, so
Happy
great
to
to
be
have you. Let
here.
me quickly give people some context for you. So, Melissa is an award winning marketing executive and the chief creative officer at ClickUp, focused on making the world a more productive through the best in class SaaS marketing. Previously, Melissa was the CRO executive vice president at Cheddar, where they also are doing some highly creative stuff. Notice that. A live video media company at the intersection of business news and culture. For her brain work, she was named to Forbes 30 Under 30, Business Insider's 30 Most Creative People Under 30, and as one of Digiday's Change Makers. That's not bad. I don't even know like what I'm like trying to get. Maybe Yahoo side of the day, if that's even still a thing. And then prior to Cheddar, Melissa led BuzzFeed's global creative team. BuzzFeed, that's where so many of us go for content creation, ideas, inspiration. And joining that staff in 2010, Rosenthal was a key contributor to the creation and early success of BuzzFeed's brand and content native advertising model. Wow, that's enough for like a book. If there isn't enough for a book, I have no idea what is. So, Melissa, just a quick introduction on who you are, anything else to add to your career to date, bringing us up to all things ClickUp and what sets it apart. And congratulations on that Webby Award nomination.
Thank you. Yeah, no, that's a great intro. I'm Melissa Rosenthal, Chief Creative Officer at ClickUp. ClickUp is an all-in-one productivity tool. Goal is to have you be able to do everything that you need to do in our platform. So, work with your team, set goals, pretty much everything you do for work in one place. And our goal is really to make people more productive and make the world, more efficient and give people time back. So, yeah, I'm the Chief Creative Officer there, oversee pretty much everything as it relates to brand. So, all the videos, all of our design, anything kind of brand, social voice comes from me and my team. So that's me in a nutshell. That's what I do.
Nice. That's just some like amazing accolades and achievements, just like an absolute rocket ship to Mars. And probably really of recent, and what just a lot of us have been talking about is kind of like a like how you handled it, but then for a lot of us, b like how we would handle it, right? If it happened to us. So
Yeah,
this person over at Atlassian basically calls out ClickUp, and for a
yeah,
lot of brands, they go to the crisis management team or committee, and they're like, "We're not going to say anything, no comment." Y'all went a different direction. So
yeah.
for all of us that not kind of privy to the behind the scenes for what you can share, what was that like in terms of when you learned about it to then like the most amazing epic thing that resulted from it?
Yeah, of course. So for the context, a large competitor of ours and a bigger competitor of ours called us out at their conference, kind of referencing our brand slogan and our billboards and our strategy, all while our logo was kind of above their head. So we saw this clip and we just felt like it was kind of a magic moment for a brand to have some fun, to really kind of remix, create some lighthearted marketing that can really tap into kind of the moment, and really just be playful around it. And it was a very a BuzzFeed kind of style move, I would say, to do that, to create a remix like in real time. And obviously we had the support of the leadership team to kind of push it out. Everyone thought it was hilarious, and it was in good fun, 100%. So I think yeah, it's definitely something like that. Not every marketing team would be able to execute on. And I think we like to have as much fun as we possibly can and be able to do things that will stand out and be unique. I think that's what you have to do in a very like oversaturated kind of content world out there, where everything you do is it's what's the loudest, what's going to make noise. And when we have an opportunity like that, we have to take it and have some fun with it. And it's all in all good spirits, on their side. We just had to take that moment and have some fun with it.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
kind
and
of like,
to give some context, yeah, we created a remix just including our billboards. We added some kind of some sound effects. We flashed some things on screen, and it was effectively, we turned what he said into an ad for us.
yeah, it's amazing. And it's like a lot of people say, you can still be nice to your competition. So you don't have to necessarily go to a mean or dark place. So it's really had a good spirit. But I mean, just for me, especially, it's like just understanding what that's like going to the executive team. So what's the response team? Well, we're going to make a remix kind of like hip
Well,
hop.
yeah, I think what we did was effectively we saw the clip and I was just like, this is golden. We have to do
Mm,
something. So I sent it over to my team and I said,
the wheels already turning.
let's remix it. I started typing out the beat. I was like, this is how it'll go. And then one of our creative producers, Paul, just like put it into action and made it happen. And then I sent it over to the exec team and I said, what do you guys think about this? And they're like, this is pretty epic. So we pushed it out.
Nice. And I got just, right now we've got Melissa on from ClickUp. They're nominated for the Webby Awards in the chat. If you go there, you can go and vote for them on the Webby Awards. They also have a podcast. I'll put that into the chat as well. Was there any other, like, from the competitor, what sort of like the feedback that you've gotten overall since you've done it?
So they stayed pretty silent, but we can tell they viewed it a lot. It went pretty viral. On my LinkedIn, it had 50,000 views, and I know it had a lot of views across a lot of other people's channels as well. And they issued like one or two takedown notices. I'll say that.
Wow. And I'd just say for everybody working in B2B or with companies today watching that, just on behalf of all of us, we can just say a huge shout out and thanks to you and the team for putting that out. This is like for a lot of us seeing creative like this executed on, right? It's great to have an idea, right? But took an amazing idea and executed on like almost pretty much flawlessly,
Yeah.
whatever perfection is, right? And just huge shout
And
out and thanks.
I would say it's just like it's also having a team that's able to just do that and like operationalize immediately and put something into action like immediately, and being able to like see that moment and kind of see what you can make from that and being able to kind of like interpret it. So yeah, a big shout out to my team for even being able to execute that in 2 hours.
You're just like the hero. You and your team are just like the heroes and like North Star for so many of us thinking this year we've got to do at least something cool, amazing, meaningful beyond just like all the stuff that you typically get locked into. So just huge. I just had to really just a huge shout out. That's just so like amazing for that. And then also just kind of switching gears a little bit, just since you're on today, ClickUp had like a Super Bowl ad. So for a lot of us, we kind of dream or just think about someday like having a Super Bowl like ad. And so what was that kind of experience like in terms of like, hey, we're going to do this, to the execution of it, and then just kind of then at the end of that, the results that you get back from it?
Yeah, I mean, it was wild. So it was my first Super Bowl ad, and it was pretty much everyone's first Super Bowl ad, and it was the company's first Super Bowl ad. So it was our single biggest spend of the year. A bet that we decided to take because of kind of the traction that we'd seen in market over the past year. We've seen a ton of growth across the entire company, and it made a lot of sense for this to kind of be the moment. We built out of our out of home strategy and our video strategy, and really kind of amplified the brand in a big way. So what bigger stage to be on, and what bigger bet to take than creating a Super Bowl ad. So yeah, we decided, in a pretty short amount of time that we were going to do it. And we created two ads that we then kind of compared against each other and created various versions of, and then we put them into testing in lots of different ways. And then we executed on it. So the whole thing was absolutely wild in a short amount of time, shooting these things. And the team was just, incredible. We did the entire thing in house, so we didn't use an agency, which is I think something you're actually seeing more of. If you go through the list, like a lot of companies are now starting to use their internal agencies to create Super Bowl ads. But in the B2B space, we were, I think, maybe one of the first. Our competitors used like a huge agency, so we tried to take the most efficient route to do it. Obviously, spending money like that on a Super Bowl is not always efficient, but in terms of just our production and everything. And yeah, I mean, the response was incredible. We've seen sales deals come from it. Across the board, our traffic spike increased incredibly the day after. We got residual, a ton of traffic on social, a ton of engagements, a ton of new followers. So something like that is so hard to track because you're tracking it across a ton of different both qualitative and quantitative metrics. And it's like, will that ROI ever tie back? You see it residually over time. Things start to come in, things happen from it. So it's always kind of like, if you take a bet, that you try to measure it every way you can. But of course, like, are you going to be able to kind of like do it dollar for dollar? Not really. But we can say definitely, from anecdotal and the qualitative and quantitative data that we saw, that it was a success for us, and that we all the data and all the testing and all the things that we did kind of leading up to it, we made the right decision.
Yeah, so imagine there's like you have to make sure you've got everything in place, like to measure it, like once it goes live and testing and all that
Oh yeah,
stuff.
it's
So
the whole it's a cross-functional, like whole company-wide campaign, you can imagine. There's so many people working on different things across the board for it. It was definitely like a huge group effort. So it was a really amazing experience. I mean, I would say everyone very emotional too. It's such a highly visible thing. It's hard because you become emotionally invested in your ideas. And I think to the point where you almost like have some sort of blindness to like, are these good anymore? Like you've seen them 1,000 times, you're like really emotionally invested, you like them, and you're like, is the world going to respond to this? Like, are they going to find it funny? And I don't know. I mean, usually, we have pretty good gut feelings about what will resonate, what will land, what will work for our audience, and like what people will think is like smart and funny and like high level, I would say elevated humor. And we felt confident, but it was just you get so emotionally invested in something like this. So it's great to have third party data to use to be able to feel really great kind of going into an event like that.
wow, that's amazing insights. And kind of, I was just thinking today as I was talking to you, like the kind of inclusion of music into kind of marketing, into
Yeah.
creative is not something we see a lot of. And so, are you coming like from a musical background, or you have some music kind of like people on your team where you can kind of get into a creative session and be like, well, let's write a song or let's do some auto tune?
Yeah, we do actually. It's pretty wild. So my background isn't in music, but I'm certainly very passionate about it, and we have an amazing amazing group of people at the company, and we have someone internally, two people internally who are they're musicians themselves. One raps, and the other creates with him, and they are two just like dynamic, amazing people that are able to kind of execute on some of these like B2B marketing, music in marketing. And I think that it's such an interesting thing. I actually saw it the other day. Another B2B company like did something, they paired with an artist. But yeah, us doing it internally, we're going to be doing a lot more of that. With kind of music and integrated into our marketing campaigns, and we have something actually launching next week that's pretty exciting for us that we've been working on for a really long time. So we're pretty excited about that. But yeah, you can expect a lot more with music for us. It's a passion, a passion project, and I hopefully it grows into something that other people do in some way, or really kind of where we become known for. That's the goal.
Nice. And one really like important kind of tactical thing and something that I'm passionate on, which I've noticed like on these videos, not only are you putting them out with the creative, but you're also putting like the English captions on top of them. And so is that, I assume, is like a conscious choice. I'm big on it as well, right? So
Yeah, if people are watching with the sound off, I think it's just kind of a natural way that sometimes people start to watch a video, and maybe that gets them to stop and kind of read, and then decide to put the sound on. So yeah, it's a strategic decision. We decide we think it just benefits us, net positive.
nice. And then I was just looking through your stuff, and one of the things wanted to weave into this show is when people get shout outs from other people, it's not just what people write on LinkedIn. So notice this one amazing like LinkedIn recommendation you got from Ryan Hines, a copywriter back from BuzzFeed. And so Ryan had wrote, Melissa was senior to Ryan and at the time of this. And so what Ryan says is that I worked for Melissa when she transformed BuzzFeed's first sponsored content division from a small group of inexperienced writers into the fully operational, industry leading international creative shop it is today. Her leadership is distinguished by an unwavering support for her team's ambitions. No one looks after her employees better than Melissa does. She goes to battle for good ideas, and she almost always wins. She fosters creativity by ensuring her team feels confident and supported. When ideas are bad, her feedback is concise and broadly informed. Perhaps Melissa's greatest quality is her ability to lead a generation of creatives who don't really want to be led. That's amazing. And she works some millennial voodoo magic on you, and you suddenly find yourself working harder and producing better results. And then you think, damn, I wish I could be as badass as Melissa Rosenthal. Mic drop, Ryan Hines. We're putting some value into that LinkedIn recommendation today. How amazing is that?
Ryan's amazing. He's also now a writer at Netflix. So went on to do some even more incredible things. He's super talented.
Yeah, it feels like this LinkedIn recommendations don't always like go there. They're nice, but I just wanted to make some value use, put that out into the universe. So just wow, just amazing feedback from them. And then for a lot of brands today, for content, content strategy, really content everything. Over the years, so many people turn to BuzzFeed for inspiration, and it sounds like you did some like amazing work there. So I don't know if you had like one story or memories kind of from that experience, because turning things around or making improvements, well, it kind of sounds easy after the fact. There's
Yeah.
so much that you have to do and overcome.
Yeah, I mean, for BuzzFeed specifically, it's hard to pick out one moment. It feels like, we went from 10 people, to 1,600, and my team went from me to over, 100, around 150. So I would say just like the moments in time when we were figuring it out, when we had to build it from the ground up. I would say the biggest learning there was just like you have to have like infinite optimism, because we were building something that had never been built before. There was no industry standard of what we were doing. So we had to figure out what people shared, what emotionally resonated, why people connected with content. And it was really this interesting like journey into figuring that out. And all of these things that you see like BuzzFeed and now, and it's just wild. I was watching a show the other day, and BuzzFeed's like in the show, and I'm like, that is just like, that still just is mind blowing, that we went from like a 10-person like company to something that is referenced in culture all the time. I don't think many people get to say that, and I'm infinitely proud of that too. But yeah, I think it's just the ability to work alongside talented, amazing people to build something that changes media or changes an industry is just something that is like the best feeling in the entire world for me. And that's why I always try to do that at any company or any decision I make or move I make. It's working alongside like incredible people to build something that changes an industry and disrupts. And that's what we were able to do at BuzzFeed. And it was, a wonderful memory and a wonderful time in my career.
Yeah, and I'd say like not only are you doing stuff that's disruptive, it's probably the best stuff that I'm seeing out there, like in B2B creative marketing, period. And then really for so much of us, like when we talk about B2B marketing, you talk to people that are just kind of going through the motions, completely stale, very corporate kind of palette, right? Whereas the stuff that people are putting out, they know it's going to put people to sleep after that first sentence. But like enter stage left, ClickUp, now is like taking over marketing on and creative on planet Earth. And so just really interesting about the dragon energy of like what is going on with the water over at ClickUp and what you're doing that is just like just for your marketing, your creativity, like for others of us looking for inspiration, like how the heck are you how they're like how the heck are these people like so creative, things like that. For a lot of us we're kind of stuck maybe like trying to sort out what our content strategy is, what are our content pillars, and then trying to do anything fun might be like, well, it's like once a year, like do it. So kind of
Yeah.
like you're kind of what's that kind of thought process like for like when y'all are coming up with your content strategy or your kind of campaigns to just really be like, this is who we're going to be and just being able to execute on that.
Yeah. Well, the water recipe is secret, so I can't tell you that. But Um, so yeah, it's a lot of things, right? I think at first it's having kind of a North Star of how you want to come across and market, and understanding that like persona tone, brand tone that you have. And ours is really personifying the product, having fun, being humorous, knowing that the people that we're marketing to, while they are business leaders, they're still people, and that, they emotionally resonate with something. So even if we're, working on a video that addresses pain points, we can do it in a way that a personality still emerges from that. And I think that's the most important thing, and something that is often lost when you're marketing software. And I don't think it needs to be. Like I think there's such a, such a like just very like middle of the road, like let's just stay here. But there's a lot of way to infuse voice and tone and brand into kind of everything that you do. And I think that's always been the goal. It's like, let's make sure that everything that people interact with and touch, whether it's a loading mechanism within the product, or it's a social tweet, or it's a performance ad, or a billboard, that it all kind of feels very unified, and gives off that brand personality. And I wouldn't be able to do this like at all without this amazing team that I have. And they are just like rock stars. I've never worked with, I mean, I've worked with great people, but these are just the best. And I feel like it's always just kind of like, when you have that, it's always putting together just this kind of, not endless, because we're not endlessly hiring, but endless puzzle that like you're able to like just connect better and better and better pieces to make the puzzle more whole. And we're, I would say, in such a great place. We have just the best, most passionate people that are just excited to think about cool things we can do. And some of my favorite meetings are meetings where we have an idea and then we're just riffing off of each other on how it could actually be brought to life. We had one the other day that was just so much fun. I love it. And we're going to do something next week. And it's just going to be really exciting. So there's just a kind of an energy, I would say, and a lot of people that are just deeply passionate, want to work on really fun things, and even the things that are very like they're more not procedural but more of the kind of the standard work. We still bring that element of like of ourselves and our personality in the brand into that. So it's really it's a combination of kind of everything, and the company being supportive of that, and our CEO being supportive of that, and allowing that to happen and allowing that to kind of come through. But yeah, it's great. I mean, the company is wonderful, and the product is incredible, and I think it's really more important than ever to kind of have this differentiated brand, because there's such a there's such a saturated market in kind of tech, and it's hard. It's like there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of feature parity. Like people are building a lot of features that others are also building, and a real way to stand out is to build a moat, build a passionate and loyal user base that loves what you do, and loves and comes for for that kind of that feeling, as well as the the end result of what they get from using the product.
Yeah, amazing. And then just a few more questions as we wrap up. We've got Melissa on today from ClickUp. Go into the chat. You can vote for them on the Webby Awards or check out their podcast. Link to their YouTube channel. And then one other thing I really noticed with ClickUp, and just really good to kind of like follow up with, there is a lot of brands like will have like social media or kind of like some sort of like engagement. Generally, it's the cliche like megaphone, one-way content, and social. But what I really noticed through ClickUp is like there's a hyper personal touch and engagement of staff, including yourself and others, actually actively out there, and who's ever running your handles, to engage back with your community member, with your audiences, with the people actually looking to try ClickUp or looking to the people that are using ClickUp. And there's this
Yep.
amazing synergy and hands-on approach that you're kind of everybody's rolled up their sleeves as, no, we're not just putting out content. We're actually
Yep.
going to be engaging with people, to the point where I'm seeing people put their own video recorded testimonials of, hey, I love ClickUp. And they're just like spreading the word.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a conscious decision. It's like I don't see any other company engaging actively with their users and their customers and potential customers, and it's like, why not? Like, we're all people. I feel like being kind of a faceless like executive at a company, it doesn't really make sense. Like, we have the ability to go in there and impact and influence people to come use our product and work with them and support them in any way we can. And I think like that's such a unique opportunity. And I love that connection. Like, I love being connected to the people that are using our product. I think that's like really cool and fascinating. And, I want to know like if they're having challenges or issues or why. And a lot of that also influences our marketing. So the more that we hear back from them and the better feedback, and the more, two-way dialogue we have, it just helps us. So yeah, I mean, we have it's usually myself and Chris Cunningham, and then our social team kind of actively all kind of firing on all cylinders there. But yeah, there's no reason not to do it. It only benefits us in really great ways.
Yeah, it's amazing. And then just one community question before we go to a quick lightning round. So within the world of brand communities, right? Where
Yeah.
do you see the intersection of community and marketing, and what sort of value do you see sort of community bringing to the table for brand related efforts?
I mean, I think community is your moat. If you have a loyal, passionate community of people that use your product, you have a moat. Like, end of the story. And I think there's so much value in having that moat, especially today when, again, like, people, like, technology has been completely democratized. People can build something that they could have, that would have taken them 5 years to build in a year, maybe less than a year now. So I think as you start to think about what truly differentiates, and if it's not the tech, And there will always be people that will be further ahead, but the community and brand like has to be there, and to get people rallied around you, spreading the word, being effectively like ambassadors for you. I think that's the most valuable thing you can have. So if you put time and effort into nurturing that, and making sure that you have that, and they feel that personalized touch from the company, I think it's infinitely important, and should never be undervalued, because it really is a huge moat.
Amazing, and completely agree. And so we're just final questions, three lightning round questions
Yeah,
for you.
let's do it.
Lightning round question number one: what is your current favorite hype song?
I don't know if it's like a hype song, but Tame Impala, Let It Happen.
Nice. And then your all-time favorite marketing or creative campaign that still inspires you to this day.
Wow. That's tough. There's a lot for sure. I like love marketing. I'm gonna just say something recently. I absolutely adore what Liquid Death is doing. They are so smart. Like whatever everything that's kind of coming out of that brand is just genius. I mean, also the Super Bowl commercial, like mwah, that was pretty great. So yeah, like big props to Liquid Death, and what they're doing in their marketing. It's mind blowing, and it's really smart, and I adore it.
Yeah, I got one like at Whole Foods, and then the checkout person's like, "Oh, you're one of those people." It's like, "All right, thank you, thank you." And then the last question, as for we lighten up, lightning round question to end it up. What is one or two words that best describe your current team at ClickUp?
Uh, Deeply passionate. I work with just a group of deeply passionate people, and it's electric, and it's inspiring, and it allows us to do what we do.
All right, so that is it for Melissa Rosenthal, our North Star of marketing creative for so many brands out there. If you're not following, we've got the links to their Twitter. Connect with them on LinkedIn. They're also going to be on Pablo Gonzalez's show, and just they've already got like some other podcasts, things like they're out there. Follow ClickUp on all the socials. Just some of the most inspiring stuff. Watch it today. Take a 1 hour break. Go through their stuff today. And just a huge shout out, Melissa, to you, the team at ClickUp. You are standing out like beyond any words that I can say today. ClickUp is on the map. If you do not know what it is today, go check it out. Share it with all your friends. Do it, do it, do it. All right. So thank you,
Thanks
Melissa.
so much, Blake. Appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, have a great rest of your Thursday. And just, again, a huge shout out to you and the team there.
Thanks.
All right, so we are just running a little bit behind today, but then coming up next, we've got Jeff. I would just say Jeff from one of my favorite places on planet Earth, Nigeria. And it's not just because Israel Adesanya is from there, the UFC champ. Jeff has just been blowing it up like on the community circuit, speaking circuit. One of the pillars of community building, and it's a must at every community, is diversity and inclusion. If community and community professionals can't get this right, nobody on planet Earth can. Jeff is out there as kind of our North Star for that, and really tackling some amazing things on community building. Feels like they're speaking at a trade show, conference, event every day, just doing some amazing work. And they've also just come out with a new book with one of my favorites, Ronald Williams, one of the most creative content people that I've ever seen. And I think there's like one other person there. But I want to bring Jeff up to the stage. Jeff, how's it going?
It's so awesome to hear you say like Nigeria is one of your favorite places. It's awesome to be here as well.
Yeah, there's just like so many friends from there. Just with Nigeria in general, there's just like there's a different heartbeat, passion with when you know somebody from there. It is like having a brother, a sister for life. This is not like some just like virtual elbow. It's like, hey Blake, how are you doing? And they're just like so passionate in work and in life. And it's like, of course, if there's going to be one place, it's going to be a water cooler of amazing developer talent, community talent. Like Nigeria is going to be that place for sure. And if you didn't know, now you know, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I think how I started my whole journey was just being in that community space and seeing there were so many community managers in Nigeria. I think about 4,000 on LinkedIn. But the funny thing is that when you check the positions, you don't see like an international role, or everything is local based. So I was like, we have so much talent, like in terms of devs, people from Google work here, people from Facebook, LinkedIn, like literally all the big fans, they literally work here. So why don't we have community managers in like a global scene? And it's funny because I'm a naturally shy person. This is the first time I'm saying this. Like anywhere, because I do the most. Like I'm always at events, always, but I'm literally shy. But I realized that my passion for community management outweighed my shyness. Like this was something I was so passionate about. Like I discovered I was talking a lot. I was doing things I never like. I left my comfort zone literally, and I'm here with you. And I'm introverted as like to the biggest point. But yeah, it's community and it's DEI. I feel like they go hand in hand. You don't separate both of them. There's DEI in community building. They don't say DEI and community building. Like DEI is a foundation, which I feel every community manager or every company should take as like the most important thing ever.
Yeah, and just kind of like then just kind of backing up, we almost raced into it. So you're Jeff out of Nigeria, and so suddenly you're on the map, on the scene with community. But what was that journey like from you, from like growing up in Nigeria? Like, what point did community and diversity inclusion? At what point did you start to have an interest and passion of those? And what is that kind of journey that brought you here to today? And then just kind of following that up is kind of like tell people a little bit about what you're working on from your book and your blog and things like that.
Yeah, it's a full story. That's a full story. I'll start by saying almost all Nigerians are community managers, and this is because like when you are growing up in Nigeria and you have like siblings or you have like people that are around you, you like you sort of herd them and you sort of like guide them. So like from a young age, you're already a community manager. You're already doing events. You're already planning like what your siblings are going to wear. So it's like an inbuilt skill that most Nigerians have that we don't really talk about. So my journey so far has been awesome. I've been in tech for like this is sixth year, and I've done like social media management. Actually, I started off as a social media manager when I was in college. Like I wanted to make a quick buck. I was looking for how am I going to make that money. So from social media management, I went to cyber security. So I learned how to code, HTML, CSS, but I wasn't really fulfilled. Like no offense to anyone that codes, I found like it was boring for me. I loved being like on the screen talking to people. I love networking. I love just that feeling you get when you meet someone from a different perspective. So I googled which job can I meet to see people, and community management came up. And prior to that, I'd actually worked for like several NGOs where I was like doing programs, direction, and like just moderating events and communities. And I didn't know that this was community management. I just thought it was like volunteering. And when I look at the skill set, I'm like, hey, super connector, check. Moderator, check. Like awesome person, check. So it was like, check. Like it was literally like the career I was meant to be. And it took me like 5 years to discover, okay, this is the point I'm meant to be. And it has been an awesome journey. Then moving back to why I decided to focus on DEI, the funny thing is like even before DEI was a brand or a name, I've been advocating for like more diversity in tech because I've been privileged enough to work with like companies in China, in the UK, in the US. So I understand how it feels like to be a person of color in that space. And there are some things that happened to me that I didn't really understand that, okay, this was a bit of microaggression. This was not right until like I started learning. And I've always advocated for it. I've always said this is wrong, this is right. I've literally been gotten so like in trouble so many times just by airing what I believe in. So I've been doing it before I could even remember. Then I discovered that oh, this is actually like diversity equity, and inclusion, what I always believe in, because when I just sum up DEI, it just like it's a sum up of saying treat people the way they want to be treated or fairly. That's just the summation of it. And that's why I always talk about like how do you want to be treated? How do you have empathy towards someone? So yeah, I've been advocating, talking, meeting people, like networking. And it's like being in Nigeria is or just any other country outside the US is very difficult to get a remote job, especially in the community space. Like you literally apply for 100 jobs and you get like 90 rejections. Maybe you get like 5 interviews. And I've always been curious, like, why? So I always thought like, okay, maybe it's me, maybe it's because I'm from Nigeria. And that was like the worst approach I had. Like, you should never say it's because of where I am. Instead, where you are is a blessing. Like, it should be your superpower. Like, I'm Nigerian, this is my superpower. I'm black, this is my superpower. So it took me a while to get to that space. So I'm like, okay, if I can't find someone in Nigeria that I want to look up to, why don't I just be that person? So I'm always at events, talking, speaking, like passionate about what I, because I know there is a generation or there are people coming up that I can bring along by having this event. Which brings us back to like the resource. It's so funny because in my head, I've been known Ronald for a while. I've been talking, like we have been having banter, and I've always wanted to like give back to the community. So Ronald messaged me on a Friday and he was like, "Hey, I have a project. Are you interested?" And I'm like, "What's the project about?" And it's like, it's imagine a resource book for community managers. And I'm like, And it's crazy because we could have gone the approach of let's do the resource for people of color, like just black people or just people that are not US. But I'm like, this is a resource that I want it to reach everyone, not just everyone, but can be used by any way. So Ronald worked on the design. He came up with 10 pages, and I was like, okay, we can do better. Then we went back, and it's crazy because we're about to release the book. It was that day we're about to release the book. I'm like, I'm not comfortable with this. I feel like we can do better. I'm too shy to even show the sketch, but I feel like it was just 10 pages. And I'm like, let's go back to the drawing board. So we canceled the release and we did like 30. And he brought it, and I'm like, we can still do better. And at the end of the day, it ended up at like 40 pages. And the outpour, it was crazy. I think I had over like 100 likes or even more like impressions. And I'm like, okay, this was something I started off as a joke because I was literally saying, oh, let's just do it for fun. And it became so impactful that people from around the world were like, I've needed this. This is something I'm interested in. And I'm like, wow, it's so humbling to like hear that. So obviously we have more resources coming out. And I feel at the end of the day, it's like the community space is a space that always gives back. Most people I've met, they're always like willing to learn, they're always willing to like give back, they're willing to teach you. And that was something I felt like when I get to this position, I should always do. I know that's a handful, but this is like the whole journey so far and how I got to this point that I'm just like Jeff, the community manager.
Yeah, so I say for today, like, and for anybody watching out there that watches this on replay some future date, if I'm hiring for a community team, like, note this out, write it on your whiteboard, write it down. Where's the first place to go looking if you're looking for amazing community talent? Nigeria. If Nigeria isn't on your radar right now for amazing community talent, like, there's something wrong with your approach. Put Nigeria, write it down, get a tattoo on your arm, get a shoulder sleeve, whatever you've got to do. Right? If you're looking for amazing community talent, go to Nigeria. There's an absolutely amazing pool of talent coming out of Nigeria right now. Thank me later. I don't need a finder's fee, but put it on the dot. And one of the things that was really interesting with diversity, inclusion, and these are like core pillars of community. And for me, right, I grew up like as an only child, right? So I didn't have brothers or sisters. So in the US school system, right, it's really weird. So like when you have all these different like cliques and groups of people, and the thing I hated about it, like as an only child, is once you are a part of one clique, that meant you couldn't go to these other cliques. Like you couldn't hang out with them. Like once you were in that group, they're like, you only can talk to us. And I was always like, screw that. I want to talk with everybody. I want to know what's going on with all the different groups and everybody like at the school. Like, and it was just something from being like an only child. And that kind of approach got me into community. So it's, when it coming to members, I want to meet people from Nigeria. I want to meet people from Japan, India. So it's just already kind of like baked into it. So it's just really surprising when you see community efforts that don't necessarily have that mindset. And so really for the teams today, what's kind of like, what do you think it like takes or a tip to get them out the gate to say really like diversity, equity, inclusion is like super important, not just to say it, not to just check the box, but like for the teams to really be like, hold up. If we as community professionals can't get this right, nobody on planet Earth can. So what are like those one or two like tips or recommendations where it's like, here's what it's going to actually take for not just to say it, but to really get diversity and inclusion into practice and as an initiative at a company?
Yeah, I feel like I always say there's a difference between being intentional about diversity and just like putting diversity as like a quick go-to branding strategy. Being intentional about it is like being intentional about learning about DEI. DEI cuts across every spectrum. For example, in Nigeria, DEI is driven by culture and tradition. Like Africa is a really traditional and cultural based continent. But when you have conversations around DEI, everyone thinks like in terms of race, like in terms of like the US perspective of what DEI means, like in terms of like inclusion in the workspace or neurodiversity in your company. But it spans beyond that. There's diversity of thoughts, there's diversity of ethnicity, there's diversity of sexual orientation, diversity of mental, physical capabilities, there's diversity of literally anything. And in my journey, I've learned that diversity means a lot to a lot of people. Someone in China can see diversity as him going to another place in China. Someone from Nigeria can see diversity as another religion. So it's, as a community manager, definitely you attract people from all over the country, or sorry, people from different continents, not just in the country, but in different aspects of life. And I think by having that diverse intentionality, it sort of creates a sense of belonging, because that's something that community managers need to foster. That sense of belonging. It's very difficult to have it because, like, we can sense it. Like when I join a community, you can tell when they are being fake it. You can tell if they are not even interested. But if you're intentional, like the best thing a community manager can have is when his community is self-run. Like imagine people from different countries talking about a particular topic, a particular interest. Definitely you hear different perspectives, different opinions, and that's something that diversity fosters. Like you get, I'm sure there are so many things that happen in Nigeria that if I tell you, you're like, wow, I didn't know about this before. This is normal. And imagine that in a community space where people have different opinions. But before they can do that, they have to be comfortable. And that is what diversity and inclusion and equity all bring. It gives that sense of comfort that, hey, we listen to you. This is a safe space to actively talk about an issue or a topic in any way you want to. I can be a man, I can be a woman, I can talk about it in any language I want to talk, and I'll be welcomed. And that's just one aspect of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Another aspect is like you. Oh, you wanted to say something?
Oh, no, no. Yeah, I was gonna like just let's do some quick lightning rounds. I got to get Marie Lou up onto the stage before they've got a hard stop here. So I just want to do some
Yeah.
four quick lightning round questions. So UFC champ Israel Adesanya is from Lagos City, Nigeria. So what's that been like for people in Lagos City, like having a UFC champ in Israel?
Yeah, not just Israel. We have like a lot of talent outside in the US, from Wale to like a lot of people. So it's funny because I love Israel because we both like anime, like we both love Naruto. So it's literally like something that we have like a connection with. And Nigerians are naturally like energetic people. So he came to Nigeria, I think once or twice, and there's also another person in UFE. I think Usman. It's another like UFC champ. So it's the sense of pride when you see like one of your own like out there representing. So obviously he's welcome in Nigeria. We always throw like a big house welcome party for him. He's always like welcome in the airport. So it's a thing of pride. And I think I relate that back to community. Like when I see people that are in Nigeria having global opportunities, like me myself not being the only person. Like I go for an event, I'm seeing like 5 Nigerians. Obviously, I'm like, yeah, I'll naturally say, okay, this is something that I'm interested in. This is a diverse event, or this is like awesome to see people of color that are in Nigeria doing this as well.
Amazing. And you also mentioned that your spirit animal is Naruto. So what is it about this anime character that inspires you and it makes them be your spirit animal?
Yeah, I think if anyone watches anime, they know the history of Naruto. Like he was a character that literally the village, like everyone used to like shun him. Like everyone didn't believe in him, but he believes in himself, and he always used to tell everyone who was going to become like it's called what's the word again? I forgot it. A Yokage of the Hidden Leaf village, and that's like a king of a village. And he did it. Like at the end of this whole series, he became like the Okage. So it sort of relates to my career as a community manager. Like starting off, people don't really believe in you. I remember how many emails I'll send, like I'm sure we'll have those stories like millions of emails, millions of applications, but you kept on going at it. You kept on believing in yourself, and we are here right now. I'm still reaching to my Okage status. Not now, but I'll get there very, very soon. So yeah, I love him so much.
Nice. And you're a self-described full-time foodie. So what is like some of your favorite foods or your favorite dish or meal to get?
Yeah, I would say steak and spaghetti bolognese. Like I love steak. I love meat. Let's just on a good day, meat and wine. I'm good with it. And spaghetti bolognese, I can leave that. I tasted nachos one time. I'm like, wow, this is actually awesome too. So I think meat, but meat like steak, grilled chicken, like they are the go-to for me. And I love testing new food. Like who doesn't? Like I love like tasting like what does this taste like from different countries and different aspects.
Nice. And then kind of the last lightning round question. So you're at it's kind of this cool James Bond kind of name. I'll probably mess it up. Sarant Blue with working with NFTs. What is like your dream choice of an NFT? If you could get like any NFT, what would you get?
I know everyone is like so interested in like Bud's AP art, but I want like a customized NFT for me, like a manga sort of comic book. Like I've not seen that yet. That's something I would love to see, especially an anime. So I know there are anime NFT artists, but a manga NFT that is like based on an African superhero. That would be so awesome. And that's like my if I had a dream NFT, that would definitely be it.
All right. So we are wrapping up here with Jeff from Nigeria. And just kind of, as I mentioned, if you're looking for amazing community talent, go to Nigeria first. There's so much amazing talent waiting for you to be hired, or just they might be somewhere else. Reach out to them. Absolutely one of the best places to get some of the most talented, passionate, and just it is just amazing. Thank me later for doing that. And just a kind of a final question. So a lot of us now in the community space are talking about Web3. So just any sort of quick thoughts on kind of like what you see Web3 bringing to the table for community before I let you go on this Thursday.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of buzzwords around. I work for a Web3 company. There's a lot of buzzwords around Web3. But in my own opinion, people see Web3 as the new form of the internet. It's not a new form of the internet. Definitely Web2 and Web3 will merge. So I see Web3 merging with Web2 to create something awesome. Like you have so many features in Web3 from blockchains, crypto to NFTs to DAOs. And these are just like aspects or different features in Web3. So I see more of a merging because you can't literally remove Web2. It will depend on it. So I feel like Web2 and Web3 will merge into something awesome. And especially in community space, like most of Web3 products depend on communities. Like if you're a crypto brand, obviously you have to have a Discord channel or NFT. So I see community managers' roles changing from community managers to like chief of community, community creator, community, like different titles because of Web3, like in my own opinion.
Awesome. Well, Jeff, it was so amazing to have you on today. I've got links to your socials like down there. If you're out there watching for a community professional to follow, you do not want to miss Jeff. Follow them on Medium, follow them on Twitter. They're speaking at too many places. We don't even have, you could probably list them off for the next 2 hours. And so it's not that we're introverts, but we are extroverts about what we are passionate about, and kind of like where our skill set aligns. So we're introverted like as community professionals in some ways, but where we have passion are like we're the rocket ship of being extroverted. And there's one of the most amazing voices going on right now in community. Jeff, we just had him on Community Hour, episode 4. So thank you so much. And big shout out to everybody in Nigeria or for all the teams today looking to do diversity inclusion. Yes, you can do it. No, it is not a checkbox. And turn to Jeff, go to his blog, watch him speak, and get your course set right. So, Jeff, thank you so much for being on the Community Hour today.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
All right. Up next, running behind, but there's so many questions about Meetup, virtual events, in-person events, hybrid. So why not bring up somebody for Meetup Pro? I use Meetup Pro for Community Hour and absolutely love it, right? So we've got today Marie Lou on to talk about Meetup Pro. Take up any questions you have on Meetup. There's so much just weird water cooler talk on some of the stuff, so we can just clear that stuff up today. So, Marie Lou, it's so great to have you on today. Tell people a little bit about yourself, how you came to be at Meetup, where you're actually based out of, and any other good things that you want to share.
Yeah, hi everyone. Hi Blake. Thank you for having me. So I joined Meetup because I was just looking for a shift in my career and to join a company with a mission that I would be passionate about. And Meetup was just everything I wanted. I'm originally from Montreal, but I've been living in New York for the past 5 years. Yeah, I've just been at Meetup was my first job in New York, and I've just been there since then, and just growing with the company and loving it. I just really fell in love with our organizers. People are so passionate on Meetup, and I just love that passion in life and bringing people together.
Yeah, and so you just also celebrated your 5th anniversary working at Meetup. So congratulations there. It's like 5 years, obviously probably flew by.
Yeah, it was 5 years, incredible 5 years working with amazing people, learned a ton, and yeah, I'm really grateful for this company.
Yeah, amazing. And so we've got like some demos and stuff you want to walk through. But one thing I always love like LinkedIn recommendations, but sometimes I like don't feel like they do any like purpose sometimes. So I looked on LinkedIn for a recommendation, and so I just wanted to read one that I saw before we get into the meetup thing. But
Right.
just put some value, some good vibes, some positive energy back into the universe. So on Mary Lou's LinkedIn, she got a recommendation from Maki Yamamoto, a manager for global commercial customer success at Miro, who wrote about Marie Lou. Marie Lou earns my highest recommendation. This is not an impersonation of Maki, so by the way, I'm just reading Mary. Mary Lou earns my highest recommendation. During our time at Meetup, she navigated undefined processes with a lot of diligence, creativity, and initiative. She always puts she always put our customers' needs and feedback first, working closely with product and marketing to advocate for them. Above all, I was impressed with her ability to juggle multiple projects at once, which made a dramatic difference in the attainment of team goals. ML, they've already got like a quick little acronym for you. ML, Marie Lou, will be an asset for any customer success organization. How amazing is that for a
I
LinkedIn?
know Maki is incredible. She was, one of my first manager at Meetup. She transitioned to Miro, but yeah, she's just incredible. She taught me a lot, and yeah, ML is my nickname, so that's what people call me at Meetup, and so you're more than welcome to call me ML instead of Mary Lou.
Nice. And so, yeah, so for the main stuff today, getting you on to talk about Meetup, Meetup Pro, I use it for community hour. And thinking about Montreal, just as a side note, I always just think of this, all my friends up there and this living in, it just seems like they're always living in like 50 feet of snow, right? So I don't know if just, that's my, every time I see Montreal, I just see like the city buried in like 50 feet of snow, and I don't know how anybody does it.
Oh, I mean, you gotta ski. If you love skiing and skating, then Montreal's great.
Amazing. And so just kind of the context for today for everyone just kind of coming into this meetup demo, things like that. So one of the things I'm kind of hearing like a little bit confusion on, just to kind of set the stage here for, so when you're looking at different tools to use out there, price is obviously one of them. And so for the day, especially, is like one of the common things with a lot of community professionals is like there's this weird thing. It's like, oh, well, if I get on Meetup, it's going to cost me like hundreds of dollars a month. And then we're like going through like the fine print of Meetup Pro, like what in the world are they doing to do this, right? Do you have like 50 billion groups, right? Because groups are add-on costs, things like that. And so it's nice to kind of get a demo, but also have clarity around that kind of pricing. And so that we get a clear understanding of what that is. And for events really today, we're in a very unique stage. It's even more important to get someone from Meetup because we just went through COVID, huge pivot, like shift to the left of virtual events. Now we're tilting back towards like a mix of like hybrid, virtual, in person. And it's like we're probably not going to go all the way back to 100% in person, but there's tools like Meetup that are uniquely positioned, whether you're doing virtual, hybrid, or in person, that could actually take you there. And it's not just me getting on a bunch of Kool-Aid to talk about it, but what better way to understand about Meetup and how you can use it for your business today? Because I guarantee you there's thousands and thousands of community professionals right now, like wondering like, which vendor do I actually go with? I have absolutely no idea. So it's really great to have you on and to just do a quick demo to walk people through it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and show you all the good stuff about Meetup. To start with, what I'd love to do is kind of just get an overview of what Meetup is. For those of you who don't know, our mission at Meetup is to empower personal growth through real human connections. And Meetup is a tool that's used in a wide reasons. People come on Meetup to learn new skills, practice hobbies, get jobs, meet people. So it's both more personal or professional. And the concept of Meetup, if you're not familiar, is very simple. We have organizers that come and can create events around interests. Those are our paid subscribers. And then we have members who are coming on our platform. It's free to create an account on Meetup, and then you can find events that match your interests. So very simple concept. And we, Meetup was built 20 years ago, so we have a huge audience. And I just wanted to show some stats here so that people can see. So we are in 190 countries. To this date, we have 57 million registered users. And our organizers collectively host nearly 3,000 events each month. So really, really incredible to see the potential on our platform. And you mentioned, this, yes, it was COVID, but Meetup was always, it started as a really where we thought the magic would happen was in person. And so even today, most of our events are hosted in person. But with the pandemic, what happened is we opened it up to also online events. And so now Meetup is really a place where you can host events in any shape that, is good for you, that be in person or online. And also just it's, for everyone and everything. You can see here our top categories are more social, and then followed by sports. But tech is also a huge space on Meetup. The tech community has been using Meetup to upgrade their skills and find their new career opportunities. And we also have language, career, supports, and belief. So a wide variety of verticals on Meetup. Just sharing here. So this year we're celebrating our 20th anniversary. So really, really exciting. And just, again, kind of showing how incredible it is that over the years, we're still seeing that our 57 million, members are showing up to our organizers 2.8 million times per month. So really huge potential here. And we also have different ways where Meetup as a company want to bring more thought leadership within the community space. Just so wanted to share, we have a podcast called Connected with our CEO, David Siegel. And we also host weekly events that we call our is called Meetup Live. And every week we welcome different community professionals to talk about their experience, to coach our organizers, to share their stories. So I highly recommend checking out. We also have recordings to all our events and a summary as well of each event. So this was just kind of to put the table, kind of showing a little bit, what Meetup is all about. And today I want to talk more specifically about Meetup Pro. It's a tool that an add-on that you can get on Meetup. It's more specific for people, for businesses, or just people in general that are looking to kind of elevate their communities. And so I'd love to do is kind of just go over kind of a quick demo. So first, what you get with Meetup Pro, in addition to just the regular organizing tools, are kind of additional ways to brand your community and really make your groups and your events stand out. Just want to show you here. Mocha Girls is one of our pro customers that I find is very inspiring. They started as one book club in LA, and Alicia now grew her network to 16 groups with almost 10,000 people in the country. And so what you get with Meetup Pro is this page where this is public. Anyone can see Alicia's group. When you get on this page, you can see all the events that are coming up across all their groups within the network. And this page is customizable, so you can add headers, can add your social links. So really kind of showcasing everything at once. So really creating that kind of landing page for your community. And as a pro customer, you can also show sponsors. So Alicia is, that's something that she really takes advantage of. It's pretty amazing. You can see here she has regular sponsors that she work with, and she get also, for example, discounts for her members. Working with brands like on. So leveraging sponsors can be a really good monetization strategy. So something that is available with Meetup Pro, and this sponsor section is both shown on group and also events pages. And another great part of Meetup Pro is that you can collect emails. So especially if you're looking, for a platform to help you build lead generation, build an email list. With Meetup Pro, it's something that's possible. You can also collect additional information about your member base. So just looking here, basically, when people on Meetup will start RSVPing to your events, you'll basically start collecting their emails. So that's all done automatically, super easy. So any events within your network, people will share their emails, and optionally they can share other information, as I mentioned, like their role and their company. And that information is viewable within your pro dashboard. So that's where you can find kind of all your tools specific to as a pro customer. And this information is also exportable in a CSV. And we have an integration built in with MailChimp, if that's a tool that you use. And in addition to that, we also make our API available. So if you are using a specific tool, specific platform, a CRM, for example, Salesforce, and you want to bring all this great data that you collect on Meetup to the tool of your choice, you can build that integration using our API. And then finally, we offer to our customers, because they are typically, growing, they're in different groups. And so we have a set of tools to really make that management of multiple groups easy, directly from that one dashboard. So just going back here, you can see, as an example, this is my test account. So I wish there was a bit more activity, but you can see here kind of over time, you can see membership growth. You can see the different RSVPs. You can see, for example, popular events in your network. So we have a tab dedicated to analytics that you can, again, export this information, easily download. You can filter it down. And not only is this page kind of an overview to measure success across your groups, but we also have more specific set of data. So your groups, your events, and your members in those kind of granular page where you can really get granular in the data with filters. And again, all this information is exportable. So one thing that our customers use, for example, Alicia with her 16 groups, one thing that's awesome here is that she can communicate with her entire network. So in a few clicks, she can send a message to all 10,000 of our members. She could also decides if she wants to segment her audience. So we have customers that will curate some information for people that are just joining. So, kind of after their first 30-day in their network, sending them a thank you note for, celebrating their first month in the community and sending a special message. And then finally, just want to touch on the new, pretty awesome tool that we have. So during this, when we did the shift to virtual, a lot of communities started to leverage online events. And so for communities that have, multiple locations, like again, just the example of Alicia with her 16 groups, it's now possible for her to schedule what we call a network event, which is basically an event that will be promoted across all the groups. So I have this example here. For example, in my network of glitter crafters, if I want to organize, for example, an international glitter day, I can do it very easily. I'll schedule this event as one event, but it will be automatically kind of promoted across all my groups. And so super easy to kind of, really engage all your network and manage it as one. So that's a tool that we've seen is has been very efficient for our customers looking to organize something more centralized, more global, and really still have this kind of feel of the local engagement with all their groups, while also being able to tap into a more global. So I'm gonna stop here. That was my demo, and I'd love to hear if anyone has any questions about what I just presented, or questions in general about Meetup.
On mute. All right. So the main thing here, on the pricing, so I've got there's a deal like for when I was looking for community hour, got the first month free for all that stuff. So there's a monthly cost, and then if I get add on groups, there's a certain charge per groups. And there's almost this myth with some of the professionals where people going, oh, but I'm spending be careful, you might spend hundreds of dollars on Meetup, and I'm going through how in the how this doesn't make any sense. What scenario could somebody outside of just having a crazy amount of groups where they would run into any situation where they were spending hundreds of dollars by having a presence on Meetup Pro?
Yeah, so Meetup Pro is very simple, as you say. So we do offer free trial. So that's, for anyone who's curious, want to try it out, we have a 30-day free trial. And after that, our pricing is per group per month. So it starts at $30 per group per month. So you can imagine for $30, you can have, unlimited number of members. So you can promote your events, you can collect emails, as I said. A lot of people easily cover that cost by having sponsors, or even, if you do charge for your events, after a few events in a month, you can really recoup your cost. And there's no additional fees. So it's basically 30 or $35, depending on if you decide to come in for a month or for 6 months. But it's really based on the number of groups that you have in each month that you use it. And there's no surprise fee. That's simple as that.
See, there you've heard it here. So if you are hearing people say I'm spending hundreds and hundreds or whatever dollars for my presence on Meetup Pro, there's a good chance and I think we've heard it here today, you've probably got way too many groups set up. And if you're not using groups, or you may have to audit yourself, do I need this many groups? Because it doesn't have to be that expensive. So it's not something from Meetup. It's going to be coming back to the root cause of what's your strategy? How many groups do you really need for what you're trying to do today? Start out with one. If you've got too many or budget's a problem, then that's not even the issue. The issue is your event strategy. Get that right. And so we just cleared that, taken that off the table today. You're using Meetup Pro, simple pricing. You're only going to run into issues if you got too many groups. You're going group crazy. We will cut off your credit cards and all that other stuff because that's going to be right. So
It's all about, like making sure that you have a good strategy in terms of what group and how you leverage groups. And as you say, it's there's not enough group or too many groups. It just depends what you're trying to achieve
Yeah.
and what's your strategy around that. But in terms of pricing, very simple, very easy. And you also have, all the organizers have access to a page where they can see their history. And if they have any question, they can always reach out to us and we can help them clear things up.
Nice. And then just a few more questions. And then if anyone has anything in chat, put it there. Also get a link to Mary Lou's LinkedIn, and then where you can also find information on Meetup. Definitely amazing tool. Love using it so far and hear about it. And I'm just curious, do you have any sort of memorable like customer success stories so far working at Meetup, or just any type of memorable like amazing story that when you just think about it, it's heartwarming, it's inspiring, or something like that?
I mean, there are so many stories. Like that's the reason why I love my job. I feel so grateful. And it's just like so much loving like stories. But I will tell you one that when I started working in the pro team, there's this amazing person, Matt, that started City Dads, and I just think it's such an amazing story. He was a dad. At home dad. So, he was living in New York and decided that he would be the one staying home, taking care of the kids. And he was looking for a community of maybe other dads or other parents in the same situation. And he kept running into mainly mom and me. And it was all around moms. And so he thought, you know what? I think dads also want to create that space and have this space where they can connect. And so he started his first group in New York, City Dads, and got so much traction, and he started to meet all these amazing dads, and it just became a thing. And he grew with Meetup Pro. They're now at 41 groups across the United States and one group in Canada. And he's such an amazing person. He has his own podcast, and he actually came to at one podcast with David, our CEO at Keep Connected, and really amazing story, really inspiring, and just to show how Meetup is just a very special place where when you think that maybe you're alone, you're not alone. It's just that you need to unlock, that potential and really use that. Like, come on our platform and meet your people. Yeah.
Amazing. And just a few more questions before I let you go today. And so for those like in RFP mode, looking at vendors, what is like some of the few things with Meetup Pro that's going to separate Meetup or get them on the dial, like stop you in your tracks? These are some of the cool features if you're going to go with Meetup Pro that maybe you're not going to get anywhere else, or you're just doing it like in a certain way. What do you see, especially maybe that's resonating with other like customers or people that you're talking to? It's like, oh my God, like this feature of Meetup Pro, I don't know how life could exist without it.
Yeah, I think like in addition to our features, I think mainly people come to Meetup because of such our huge audience. Like I mentioned, we have 57 million registered users. That's huge, and people know Meetup. And people typically come to Meetup because they have a really high intent of meeting. And that's really the difference. Like I feel our customers, especially if you're early stage where you want to increase your brand awareness, you want to build a community, coming on Meetup where people are really looking, to meet, to connect. It's just so big. And so I think like that's really our main differentiator, our 20 years of building this incredible community of members. And yeah, and that, it's just a very simple tool as well, and very easy to scale. And so like, you can start with one group, and then as you get more, really right away on growing and adding more groups, and just that really easy access to scaling your community from ground up.
Nice. And then just kind of like, since I've got you on today, just really fascinating for somebody that's actually a leader in the space, in the trenches, and kind of a lot of community and companies are talking about it, but we just, as I kind of mentioned at the top, we've got this kind of, with COVID, everybody kind of shifted to virtual events. Some people are already doing it. And then it's kind of like, as COVID's kind of come and gone, and maybe we're getting out of it, like there's been a shift to hybrid. and we're starting to get kind of some in-person play back. But just you're in the trenches. What are some of the trends that you're seeing in April 2022? And what do you see kind of like this shaping up over the next year? And then kind of like the follow on, I'm throwing a lot onto your plate as a follow on to that. If you kind of look out into your crystal ball, Mary Lou, where do you see this kind of going in the next 5 to 10 years? It's impossible to predict, but just for your unique perspective being in the trenches, you probably have like an amazing insight that some of the rest of us just don't have.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think people are craving in person. That's what I hear. People aren't miss that special touch of just meeting in person. And people also want to keep the reach and the accessibility that online offers. So I feel a lot of people now are really kind of looking for the right balance of offering that mix of both, like being able to meet locally and also keeping, you know, maybe some opportunities for the larger community to meet. And for the in-person, what we've heard is people are craving that, but there's still a lot of fear, a lot of, you know, worries around how to go about that. So we actually released a few months ago new features on Meetup to make it easier for members and organizers to communicate any type of requirements together. So now easily you can see on events, is this a place where masks are required, vaccination, you know, special notes that the organizer can leave for members. So we do recognize that there is still that, you know, moment of adapting to this new reality and fear still. So we're doing everything we can to offer the tools to our community so that they can meet safely and be a bit more confident about taking that, you know, step of going back in person. So that's definitely kind of something that we'll want to continue iterating, making it even like easier in the future from our search to, if you only want to attend events that, you know, people are vaccinated, you know, make it easy for people to choose what works for them. We realize everyone is at different you know, different places around COVID. So that's one thing that I've been working a lot on. And then I think on just general trends, I think more and more people will offer within their community, as I mentioned, that those different levels of engagement so that everyone can feel part of it. So having those local groups where, you know, you can meet on a regular basis, having this magic happen when you see people like on a regular basis, face to face, that human connection. And then on the larger level, maybe having you know, monthly webinars where everyone can get together, chime in, share best practices, bring on speakers as well. That's one thing that we saw through the pandemic, how amazing now, you know, like maybe you don't have the budget to bring a speaker from Nigeria all the way to, you know, Las Vegas, but that's great. We can all be on a call and share and really get together across time zones through virtual. So I think it's really taking making the most out of each of those formats to create a really strong community where people can engage in all those different ways.
Yeah, it's amazing. And so like just kind of like the kind of initial thoughts based on what you're seeing. So like 5, 10 years from now, do you see kind of like in person going back to where it's maybe not 100% of events, but more like 80%? And then with that kind of remaining mix to be a combination of hybrid and virtual, what's your kind of sense of what that kind of balance will look like kind of 5 to 10 years from now? And of course, we have no idea like what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to predict, and obviously, like we've seen even on our platform, things like when Omicron started, right? It's like there's so many surprises like probably coming our way still, and every time those do kind of, you know, impact the way that people meet. But right now we're seeing about 75% of our events are in person. So I think that it's just going to continue being probably increasing, and I think online is kind of adding on top of that. So I think again, I think people will continue to increase more their in-person presence in the upcoming years. Yeah.
And so maybe like, you know, for me, just kind of like thinking through it, then it's kind of like for a brand or an individual kind of wanting to do stuff, it's kind of knowing like, what is your event strategy for virtual? What's your strategy as it relates to hybrid? And what does it relate to in person? and then kind of what makes sense for you, and then based on any conditions. But kind of when you know your strategy for all three and kind of what your game plan is, then it's going to be easier as everything else that goes on, whether it's crazy or not, you can much more easily do it. It's much tougher if you don't have like a strategy for each three of those. Is that kind of like in the ballpark of what you think
Yeah,
companies?
and I think it all depends. I think some communities can still be successful of just, you know, being only online if that's the path you want to take. But I do think there is an advantage in each format. But it's always a question of what are your resources, what are your objectives, and if you can provide both in person and online, I think that's really making will make your community stand out by offering that you know, both options basically.
Right. So it's really just what events are right for your company. Don't just get caught up to any hype, or just because other people are doing virtual hybrid doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So just knowing what type of events and what type of event strategy is right for your company, your brand, or what you're trying to do.
Exactly.
Got it. Yeah, it makes, yeah, that's why I love having you on, just so deep into the trenches. So we've got just a few lightning round questions before I let you go. And thanks for being gracious for your time today. We've got Marie Lu from Meetup Pro on with us today. If you got any questions, be sure to put those in the chat. So we'll get into the lightning round. So the Chief Meetup, David Siegel, I just call him Chief Meetup Dave Siegel, just wrote a new book. Have you read it? And if so, what's your favorite part?
I started questions. I came prepared. Yes, Decide and Conquer. I started reading it. I'm not done yet. I just got it recently because I was out of the country, but I love it. And there's one part of the book. It was interesting. So I was there when David started as a CEO, and part of the book he explains what, you know, his first time introducing himself to us, and shares how important it was for him to share like the main principles of being a CEO, instead of, you know, telling people like, here's my plan, to focus more of kind of his values and principles, so that we as our like the employees could get him get to him, know him better. Sorry. And I thought it was like a really cool approach to things. And he talks about it in the book of kind of focusing more of like really his values, what's important for him. And so, you know, some of them were kind of like transparency, focus, revenue, performance-driven culture, accountability. So really kind of going over those principles with us and sharing with us what it meant. And then he did go back on those principles later on. And I thought it was really, really, really a sign of like a strong leader to really like be open and transparent as one of his principles with us of, you know, what's important for him.
Nice. And yeah, I just got a copy of the book myself. Jamie Johnson is running an event with David, I believe next month, early May. I'll be sure to put a link to that out. So definitely check out that book. I just got it, about to start reading it. And then one of the kind of amazing things, you just did a 5-month trip as a digital nomad exploring both Mexico and Costa Rica. So what are some of your favorite parts about that 5-month trip?
Yeah, it was you know, to just meet incredible people, and the food food was so good in Mexico. But really, it was just like creating a sense of community along the way. It was so amazing to, you know, especially the little town that we were in, Costa Rica, was people from everywhere were traveling. It was just amazing to have those like really like group dinners like every week, people from everywhere learning their stories, connecting, and I just absolutely loved it.
Great. And then you also talk about just sort of having I guess, a passion affinity for exploring places and cultures. And so for Marie Lou, like what is like that in-person place that you've gotten to explore, a place and a culture that's just really been the most amazing for you so far to date?
And that's a tough question. There's so many, but I have to say there's one very special place, just Thailand. Someone who used to work at Meetup created this amazing retreat where we got a small group together, and for you know, 8 days in Thailand. It was 10 days, sorry, in Thailand. It was we did Muay Thai, which is a type of martial art there. We ate local food. We were staying in a small little kind of like hotel like place where all locals were there, and he just really helped us discover the culture, the food culture, and over there is also like people are so serious about their food, the flavors, and it was just really incredible experience of discovering Thailand and like through locals and through his lens as well. So it was a pretty unique experience in my life.
Wow, and I've always I'm such a huge fan of pad thai, but it's like you get like a certain version of it. So I've always want to go to Thailand and get like I always wonder what is. Yeah, yeah. But someday, yeah, it's just amazing. And then just kind of last question before I let you go. So just a huge shout out to everything that y'all are doing there. Be sure to check out David Siegel's book. Check out Meetup Pro. But as we kind of leave you here today on Thursday, April 21st, episode 4 of the Community Hour, any sort of cool, exciting things we should look forward to Meetup? Anything else like people like, hey, this sounds interesting. What should I like? Are there any other sort of upcoming things or anything else you want to note, like in the land of Meetup, or if there's anything else you want to give a shout out to? But just thanks for, and just, yeah, I should say, thanks for everybody there helping us to get through the pandemic. Like companies like Meetup helped get us through, the team, the staff there. This was not easy, right? Mental health's probably never been at a worse place since I've been alive. But companies like Meetup, these are like some of the big heroes there. I mean, there's people in the front lines are heroes, but also the companies like the Meetups of the world, like helping us get through it, helping us as companies be able to scale, still stay in contact with our community, and person or virtual was so big. So just such amazing. We almost like take it for granted that we have Meetup. So a huge shout out to you and everybody there for having it. And just like, I'll just turn it over to you and any sort of final thoughts to take us out.
Well, thank you, Mike. I just want to say thank you to the community. The Meetup community is amazing, and I'm grateful for every single organizer, every single member out there that make our world better by getting together and sharing their passions. And just one last for in terms of links, would be great to share the Meetup Live. I just highly encourage you to join this group. We have amazing people from the community world coming every week. So really recommend checking it out. And we have events every week, literally. So really, and there's something for everyone out there. So I can. Here I'm gonna drop in the chat. But yeah, that's my one call out. Check out that group.
Great. Well, Marie Lou, it's so great to have you on. Sorry for running late here today. You've been so gracious with our time, and just send our thanks from all the community professionals to everybody at Meetup helping us get through this crazy pandemic. Thanks for your time today. Just so honored to have you on today. Just getting from the front lines is just amazing. We talk about like what's going on, but hearing it from you is just amazing for all of us out there. Have a great rest of your Thursday, and thank you so much for being on.
Thank you, Blake. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
See you. All right. This is Blake coming to you live from Las Vegas, West Coast Live, #Community Hour. We have just wrapped up episode 4 of the Community Hour. I've got the Die Hard t-shirt on today. Welcome to the party, pal. If you know that line, you know that line. So great to be with you. In terms of community news, nothing really big to share today. Just want to spike out 2 quick things. Content Inc. from Joe has a revised edition. I think it's 2021. If you got this book back in the day, I just wanted to get it to reread it, but they've actually expanded this book out. Content Inc. If you're a community professional coming up with a content plan, engagement plan, read this book. It is essential, and it has now been updated with all sorts of new and amazing things. Content Inc. Get the expanded, revised, updated edition. I think it came out 2021, so be sure to get that. And then really cool, like Forbes Like, right? So Forbes has a blockchain issue out right now onto stands. If you're looking to understand the world of Web3, pick up this issue of Forbes, the Blockchain 50. I was actually going out this past weekend in Vegas. I saw the founder of Calendly was on one of the Forbes talking about their story. They had two businesses that didn't work out, and then they just said, "Hey, I'm going to put $200,000 and go all out for this thing, this vision of Calendly." And which obviously became a tremendous success. I wanted to read about that. And it just so happened I couldn't find this edition of Forbes, but I found that they had this edition out on blockchain. And I'm all about the Web3 now, trying to learn about it. And kind of a shout out to next week. Our show is going to be all about Web3. Got some amazing speakers, got them up on the screen. That's Thursday, April 28th. Get to Community Hour on Meetup Pro to sign up for that. That's going to be amazing. Huge shout out to all our speakers today. We had Melissa on from ClickUp. I'll be sure to link out some of the stuff there. Amazing stuff going on there. Some amazing creativity with Melissa and that team at ClickUp. If you're not following them, you definitely should. And then with Jeff out of Lagos City, Nigeria, got that Dragon Ball Z energy, just really amazing. Be sure to check them out on Medium. Be sure to check them out wherever they are speaking. And if you're looking to hire anybody on your community team, put the country of Nigeria onto your radar. So thanks, Jeff, for being on. And then our last guest was Mary Lou, hailing from the snowy streets of Montreal. Amazing city. Be sure to go out and do it, not just because GSP from the UFC is there, but also just an amazing city and culture of its own. Mary Lou is now out of the New York City area, which is also amazing. But just Meetup is on the front lines of events, and Meetup Pro is just amazing for brands. So hearing somebody that's actually out there living and breathing events on a daily basis, doing that full spectrum of in-person, hybrid, and virtual is so amazing to have Marie Lou on with us today, talking about everything from the Mocha Girls to City Dads, walking us through those feature sets. You can see what you can do with groups. You can see what you can do with networking groups. So that was just really amazing. So this is episode 4 of the Community Hour. If you have guests that you would like to see on here, shout out, let me know. I would love to feature you, have you on to the Community Hour. Anything else you would like to see, let me know. This has been such a wild and crazy week. Just kind of being under the weather here today, or these past few days, leading to 6 hours in the ER. So I would just say, take care of your health. If you can't take care of yourself, you can take care of nothing or your community. Doesn't matter how trivial it is. If you're feeling off physically or mentally, go get checked out. I mean, I'm just saying it's just very critical. Health is important. And also, just for anybody watching this on replay, wherever you are in the world, hey, if you are feeling like imposter syndrome or want to learn more about community, you can always book time with me. Drop me a message on LinkedIn or somewhere else. I would love to talk with you. So if you're ever feeling you need some encouragement, inspiration, or you just want to chat, need someone to talk to, I'm a great person to listen, right? Whatever you need in the world of community, book time with me. I am always here. So just know that you've got a friend, you've got a partner. We are all in this together. This is Blake coming to you live from Las Vegas, episode 4 of the Community Hour. Welcome to the party, pal. You can see me in my proud Die Hard t-shirt with the tuxedo. Maybe I need a white dress shirt. Having just moved, having no white dress shirts. Yes, I do. I am making do with stylish look, Die Hard, tuxedo, whatever works for you, your personal brand style. Make it happen. And so for today, as we are closing it out, just remember, put out some good vibes, some positive energy back out into that universe. Community vibes, community vibes, community vibes. Until next week, the Web3 show. This is Blake. Have a great rest of your Thursday, April 21st. And if you made it here, watch any part of the Community Hour, you are doing something right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Community vibes. The end. Episode 4 is out. Ooh.